Now, a place that has a ton of character that will always be known and will always have a tradition is Augusta National for the Masters. So the Masters just wrapped up last weekend. I believe it wrapped up on Easter Sunday. That was the first Sunday that I was back. The Masters is something that's appointment television for me. And I know we say that a lot, like I love the NCAA tournament, but the Masters is a different feel. And golf in general, I love to watch. I mean, it's very enjoyable. It's very peaceful for me to watch. But the Masters is an institution. Augusta National, to me, has the same, if not more, gravitas than some of these stadiums that we know for football or baseball or whatever. It's on my sports bucket list of places that I would like to go, not just to watch the golf, but just to walk the grounds. To me, it feels that sacred. And I always look forward to the Masters because it's a different feel. Whether you watch golf or not, I think the Masters moves the needle. People know what it is because again, it's like Madison Square Garden. Augusta National speaks for itself and it is the star. And over that weekend, we saw Jon Rahm, who is an excellent golfer, US Open champion, wins the Masters and I think cements himself as one of this generation's best golfers. And his future is certainly bright. I always say this: if you're a golfer and you're a professional and you're only going to win one major in your lifetime and it's the Masters, you're set for life. And there's unique traditions. Everything about the Masters just is awesome. I love it. And I just love watching it. I love taking it in. And I assume you feel the same way.
Oh, I absolutely do, and it took me a while. I mean, probably only the last, we'll call it 10 years of my life have I really been interested in golf and tried to play more golf, and it didn't take long. I'm a traditionalist, as you know. I love kind of the old history and things like that, and you get that by the truckload with the Masters, and I was immediately drawn to it, and I'm the type of person when something sort of intrigues me, I go down the rabbit hole and start looking up things about it, and you just start hearing all the great stories. And you have Race Creek and Amen Corner and all these fascinating spots on the course and, the clubhouse. And, I think the clubhouse up in the upper floor has like a lodging area where the amateurs stay and stuff like that, which is super unique. And I believe Bobby Jones, right, was the one who built it or designed it originally, was the architect of Augusta National. And I think his favorite course at the time was the old course at St. Andrews, and I think he built that as, like, his homage to the old course. And, and I know a couple people that have had the opportunity to go, and I've talked to them, and they always talk about it on TV during the Masters that TV doesn't do it justice in terms of the terrain there. I mean, they said that you can't even begin to imagine, like, the elevation changes that exist there that you don't capture on TV. And I watched a video of a golf guy that I kind of follow, and he talked about, I mean, this guy's in shape, he's fit, and they went out and walked the course, like, during one of the practice rounds, and he's like, "We had to stop, like, walking up the hill on whatever hole because, like, to catch our breath," I mean, it's crazy, which kind of bleeds into, like, Tiger having to withdraw and everything else. And he said, I saw an interview after, like, day 1 where they asked him, what he was struggling with. He's like, "Walking."
Yeah.
I mean, he said that was his biggest problem was having to walk around the golf course. And I just got to imagine on a course like that. But at the same time, like you said, just to be on those grounds and be out there in between those giant Georgia pines, and you've got the azaleas, my goodness, and all that stuff, and it's just it's awesome.
The grounds crew is underpaid. It's a beautiful, beautiful course. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. You're right, though. The course is hard. And I think the fact is, or the fact of they play there every single year. And yet the same people play it over and over and over again. And for lack of a better term, no pun intended, nobody has mastered that course. And even Tiger in his heyday, they had to make it harder for him, which made it exponentially harder for everybody else. Even Tiger didn't win every year. That's what's amazing about it. Whatever they do to it, the whole placements on Sunday, some of them are just downright devilish. Then they
Yeah.
know it too. Like I feel like if you're the guy who cuts the holes out for Sunday at the Masters, you just know. Like you've got it. You're holding it over them. Some of those hole placements are amazing. But I think what it comes down to and what I find the most fascinating is the difference between Thursday and Friday and the weekend. And guys who come out guns blazing on Saturday or Thursday and Friday, they falter over the weekend. Once you change over to the weekend, something about that course changes. It's almost like the course knows that it needs or that you need to be at your most mental fit. It's not even just the physical aspect of it. And I think what I saw over the course of Sunday was Jon Rahm played consistent golf, did everything he had to do, didn't take an unnecessary risk, and Brooks Koepka just, even though he had a historic first 2 days. I don't know if you saw that stat that he was only the fourth player ever to have consecutive rounds of 67 or under at Augusta National, and then couldn't bring it home because that's how hard that course is. And that's what it does to you. And Jon Rahm did everything he was supposed to. He showed me what it means to be a champion. And the Masters has one of the coolest championship ceremonies ever. Like, I think Cleve asked us about that one time. For me, it's the Stanley Cup and then it's the green jacket. I mean, that has got goosebumps every time.
Now the green jacket is fantastic, and one thing too that they had to battle over the weekend was the weather, man. The rain was just terrible. And but I tell you what though, Brooks Koepka could not use that as an excuse because for most of the weekend he got the better of it on the weather side of things when he was playing. And I still knew though, I had a feeling I knew he was gonna piss it away. Um, I just didn't think he was gonna be able to sustain that long, especially when the pressure ratcheted up on Sunday. And, no, it was cool. Jon Rahm, man, he's always near the top, one of the best golfers in the world, and to see him get it done was great. And that's one I really think he needed, right? That's a notch in his belt that he needed to get to really, like you said, cement himself as one of the best in the game, not just in this era, but, forever historically. Um, I did see something interesting, 2 different little facets to this debate. One is how close to the green would you have to start to shoot par at Augusta? The other one was how close to the pin would you have to start to win the Masters? I'm like, I'd have to be on the green, and that's just to give me a fighting chance. Like, yeah, I'd have to start on the fucking green for sure,
Oh,
to even make the cut. I'd have to start on the green, no doubt about it.
it would never happen. Like, it would just would not happen because putting, I don't think people realize. Maybe they do. Maybe if you're a golf fan, again, call the show, give me your opinion, tell me how full of crap I am. But when these golfers make these like 12 to 15-foot putts for par, like saving par, and they just make it and walk off, and we're like, all right, he did what he had to do. And I'm like, that's a hard putt. Like, that's a really hard putt to make with all that pressure. And they just go up there and do it. And just because I'm on the green does not guarantee anything for me. Like, how far away am I? If I'm 100 feet away, I'm definitely getting a six on that hole. There's no way I'm getting anywhere close because those long putts are ridiculous. I don't think I could do it. I'll be honest. I don't think I could.
Oh, I don't believe I could either. I'm just saying to have even a chance, I'd have to be on the green. And like you said, if it's one of those giant putts and maybe there's a bunker or something, if you overhit it
Oh,
or whatever, I mean, yeah, game over, buddy, game over for sure. And it's impressive. I've watched a couple of different things. I came across a video of Phil Mickelson talking about his pre-shot like routine and all the shit he thinks about in his head. And I mean, he's going on about like what time of day it is, what's the humidity, what what direction is the grain of the grass going in relation to the ball. I mean, just all this wild shit. And is there any moisture? Is there moisture on the club head? If so, there's going to be a barrier between the club head and the ball that's going to impact the spin and the release and all this other shit. And he's like, I have two different swings with each club, and there's a ten yard difference between the two, and I can choke down and blah blah blah. I mean, just it's just like whole, and he processes all this stuff in a minute, right? Maybe. And to think of, and I'm like, fuck, I'm just trying to hit the fucking thing for one. Like if I make contact, then we're off to a good start. And then if I can hit it and it goes straight, you're not gonna get too many complaints out of me, man. If I can hit it straight, I don't care how far it goes.
no, but I watch golf for that exact reason. I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but I watch golf because I love watching people do something that I know I'll never be good at. And golf is probably the only thing in my life that I've tried to be good at and just not been good at. And it's not enjoyable for me. I like being on the course, the smells of the course, the whole experience of being on the course is awesome as long as I'm riding in the cart and I don't actually have to swing the club because I I lose my mind. I lose my fucking mind. Like I don't know how people retire playing golf because I never been good at it. And no matter what I do, no matter what I do, I will. This show will be purchased by Spotify before I ever figure out how to be a decent golfer, let alone a good golfer.
I mean, I think it's the golf is cruel in this way, is it gives you hope, right? You could accidentally, I mean, even if it's once around, you accidentally run into one because you just happen to put the club in the right spot at the right time and just luck your way into a great shot, and you're like, I'm figuring this out. I got this. And then the next one, you freaking
Goodbye. In the
chunk
drink.
it or whatever else. Yeah, I mean, no, I enjoy being out there playing. I try not to take it too seriously. I'm not very good either. It's just um, being out enjoying the nice weather. Most golf courses are absolutely beautiful and well maintained, and it's just a nice place to hang out. And you have a couple cold ones while you're out there, and you have a good time with a couple friends.
You know what's interesting though? And I was thinking about this earlier with baseball, is how baseball players, thinking about Ken Griffey Jr., we recognize swings from baseball players all the time, right? Like we can think about batting stances and so forth, and every player sort of has their unique way of playing. But yet golf doesn't really have that. Like I don't ever think, "Ooh, Tiger's swing was just so wonderful." And maybe there are some players that stand out. I know a lot of people say Fred Couples has one of the best swings in golf, but I never watch these guys and think, "Oh, I can see the differences." And but yet we grew up watching baseball players and knowing the difference, like how a guy stands and how he swings. Like Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing was different than everybody else's swing, right? And isn't it interesting how, and what's more speaks to the fact that golf is so precise that you have to be that technical in there. Like your hips have to be in the right place, your wrist has to be in the right place, all just to hit the damn ball straight. And that's not including all the shit that Phil Mickelson is talking about, which, by the way, I looked on the leaderboard on Sunday and I was like, Phil?
Yeah. Yeah, he got himself in there, man, and, he's funny. I love hearing, like, the little sound bites of him talking on the course and talking to people. I think it's hilarious. But you're right, yeah, golf's very precise. It's hard to see much of a difference from one player to the next. I mean, I know a couple years ago, the big thing was Bryson DeChambeau being, the big hitter and just the how quickly he would, the intensity with which he would swing the club, and then, his putting style was unique. And yeah, I think you see some unique putting styles and stuff, but when it comes to just their regular old golf swings, yeah, it's hard to decipher between from one to the next. And I remember as a kid, going back to the baseball swings, the one thing I remember emulating all the time as a kid growing up was all the different batting stances,
Yes.
right? All the unique batting stances. They seem to be all over the place. You had the Andre Scalaraga, who was like the first guy with the real open stance, and Craig Counsell, who basically held his bat up to the moon, and
Oh, yeah.
all these different guys.
Julio Franco, guys like that. He would hold the bat up over his head like that. Jeff Bagwell practically took a
Yes,
shit while he was up at the plate,
exactly.
right? Like there are just unique guys. And but you mentioned Bryson DeChambeau, and I think he's a douchebag. And I kind of also think Brooks Koepka's a douchebag. And I don't know why, but it's funny because those two guys hated each other, and yet I'm like, you hate each other because you're basically the same guy. But Brooks Koepka basically was complaining that slow play was happening on Sunday. And I'm like, and how come Jon Rahm was 12 under? Like, I can't with that stuff. And I know that, you're allowed to say those things. And I think he wasn't taking anything away from Jon Rahm. But whenever guys do that, and he does it a lot, Brooks Koepka actually does a lot. And I think the more that it happens, that's why I started souring on the guy. It's like, come on, man. Like, I get it. But also, there's a lot of other people who are affected by it who didn't have any friggin' problem on Sunday. Like, if the play was so slow, why did Jon Rahm play the crap out of that course and beat the crap out of you? You know what I mean? Like, that's just, I don't know. That kind of stuff, it bothers me because it takes away from the prestige of the entire thing. Like, clearly, you're not a Masters champion or you're not capable of being a Master champion if that's what you're going to complain about.
Yeah, I feel like he does make a lot of excuses. He's one of those types, and I don't know. Maybe I don't recall, but I don't remember hearing Tiger make a lot of excuses. I mean, if anything, he's complaining about himself, his own game. He's very critical of how he played personally, and um, I don't think he was ever complaining about slow play or any of the elements outside of his control.
Yeah,
It does kind of come across a little bit as a sore loser, but at the same time, I do think that Patrick Cantlay, who's in the group ahead of them,
he was.
is notorious for slow play. But my understanding is they were backed up too
Hmm.
to the group ahead of them. So, and that's usually how it is on the golf course. You try not to get mad at the group ahead of you because they're usually slowed down by whoever's in front of them, and so on and so forth. I can tell you what though, personally, I hate people playing at my ass on the golf course.
Oh,
Like,
I hate it
I'll
too.
let them play through. Go ahead, man. Like, play through.
I'm the same
Uh,
way. It bothers me, and I'll tell you what, like, I'm a big etiquette on the golf course guy. I caddied. That was my first job. I was 11, and I caddied at the local country club. Rhode Island Country Club was local. It was like 20 minutes away. But my point being is I was the poor kid at the rich country club caddying, and I learned a lot about etiquette and how to do things and things you do and do not do on the golf course. And I hate it when I play with people who don't respect that. I never yell at them or anything, but it bothers me. Like I judge them as people when they drive their cart on the green. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? That's come on.
have you ever I know I've never seen someone drive their cart
Oh,
on
I
the
have.
green. Like, I would lose my fucking mind,
I
and I'm
have.
not, like, a golf, like, connoisseur by any means, like, oh my goodness, yeah, no, you don't drive your fucking car on the green. I don't care how shitty of a golf course it is, like, you don't drive your car on the green. We got yelled at one time. I was at a with a buddy at a country club, and we fucking parked the cart 10 feet off the green, like, the side of the green. We were in, like, the 2nd cut, and this old man was losing his shit because of how close to the green we were, you know? I'm like and there weren't signs. It's not we weren't anywhere where it was, like, indicate, like, "No carts here," or whatever. I mean, I didn't think we were
Yeah.
in a bad place, but so I gotta know then, what are some of your biggest pet peeves on the golf course?
Oh, you hit into me, the ball's coming back at you. Like that definitely happens. Or I throw your ball into the nearest woods and you won't be able to get it back. If you step in my line, that really bothers me. And there's just little things like that. If you don't take the pin out, like there's people who will putt and the pin is still in, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like 10 the pin. What are you know, like that's just the thing, right? And just talking, I mean, talking happens, right? If you're out with buddies, things happen, but it's just general disrespect of, I guess, the rules of golf and the way that you're supposed to act. Like there's an etiquette at a golf course. It's not like going to the bar. Like you can go there and drink and so forth, but respect the golf course, not replacing divots, things like that. Just generally not taking care of the course. And it bothers me because as a caddy, you were responsible for doing all that. And you replaced divots and you made sure that things were where they were supposed to be. You made sure that you weren't anybody's line. You weren't standing they weren't standing so your shadow was there and all that. And the driving of the cart, people drive it like assholes. It really, really, really bugs me. Like I just
Yeah,
want
no,
them to drive into the damn pond.
yeah, I think those are all fair criticisms, honestly. Those are things that I think you go to a course, one thing as a just a casual golfer, I think you accept the responsibility that you have to take care of the course. To like you said, replace your divots, don't drive on the fucking greens, don't trash the tee box. Just little basic things. Don't throw your trash on the ground. You know, if you got garbage, put it in a fucking trash can.
Rake the
Like a
sand
human
traps for
being, rake the
Christ's sake.
sand traps. Yeah. Yeah, just all that stuff. I'm totally with you on that, man, like 100%. I don't think that that's above and beyond by any means. I think that's just common courtesy.
But that's a general commentary on society today that common courtesy and thinking about somebody else is just it's not part of where we are. See what you've done, man. Like I've been gone. I have no voice. You get me fired up. I swear you do this on purpose because I know you like it when I get out of my, out of my little cocoon of positivity. I'm not, I'm not here for it. We have to.
I'm gaslighting the
You're
Iceman. Let's
yes, you're
go.
you're gaslighting me. I missed you, but not quite that much. You got to tone it down a little bit. I think we need a little bit of positivity.